For those protesting, this feels like a genuine matter of life and death.
We get reports that someone has been shot and killed, and we're asking, when did our security forces start killing our own to protect an American facility that is meant to treat Americans? We do not want to import Ebola to Kenya. We do not want to import it to Nanyuki.
We don't want Ebola in Laikipia. Why shouldn't they take it somewhere else? We don't want it. So please, Mr. President, we don't want Ebola here.
U.S. officials said an American who tested positive for the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola will be evacuated to Germany for treatment, along with 6 individuals considered high-risk contacts.
Kenya's president says his nation is preparing for a potential outbreak, with thousands of Kenyan citizens reportedly in eastern DRC.
We have support from different countries. We have support from the United States to manage this situation. They have also offered to set up, of the 23 isolation units, the United States have offered to set up one of them. And we are working together to make sure that we manage this situation.
Yet for those ordinary Kenyans in places such as Nanyuki, the decision to host foreigners infected with Ebola goes a step too far.
Today, the United States Housing Committee on Foreign Affairs took to X to openly condemn the Trump administration strategy, calling the offshore quarantine plan a definitive failure of leadership, and I quote, "Our government has a responsibility to help Americans abroad. The United States already has domestic facilities specifically designed to safely care for Ebola patients. The Trump administration should bring Americans home and help them, not outsource that responsibility to a foreign government." The United States lawmakers further called out a glaring contradiction in Washington's foreign policy, pointing out that the Trump administration had previously slashed the crucial health funding to Kenya, yet still expected the East African nation to assume the biosecurity risks of hosting up to 50 potentially infected Americans.
In Africa, the Trump administration confirms it is working to set up a quarantine facility in Kenya. White House officials told reporters today it will be open tomorrow. It will be open only for Americans who were exposed to or infected with the deadly illness. At least 223 people are believed to have died from Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That number, of course, is expected to grow.
Look at this X post on your screen there coming from the Washington Post saying a Kenyan court suspended a Trump administration plan to establish a makeshift field hospital in Kenya to quarantine and treat Americans exposed to or infected with Ebola. That ruling came the day the U.S. officials said the facility would begin operating, which was set for today.
The House Committee on Foreign Affairs has issued a harsh critique to the Trump administration, accusing it of outsourcing its constitutional duty to care for its own citizens to another nation. This critique follows a highly controversial plan to construct a U.S. military-run Ebola quarantine facility in Nanyuki, Kenya, a move U.S. lawmakers call a glaring contradiction given Washington's recent massive health aid cuts to Kenya.
Kenya's doctors' union is threatening a nationwide strike, and you have a legal challenge that has been filed in Kenya's highest court.
And the Kenyan concern is this facility, if it's there, should be available, I'm gathering, to everyone, not just Americans. I think that's point one. Point two, is there a history ever, Dr. Gounder, of a situation where the American government said an American cannot come home for treatment of any kind of disease?
Yeah, so this is, there are questions about the constitutionality of this. So part of your liberties as an American citizen is freedom of travel. And this might possibly violate the Fifth Amendment.
Very quickly, Dr. Gounder, when the White House talked to reporters today, it said the Kenyan facility is beneficial because it's quick. Anyone suspected of having Ebola can get there, and that's better than putting them on a plane and allowing things to happen that otherwise won't if you're there more rapidly dealt with. Is there any validity to that?
Let's say they decompensate, they get worse, and the option is sending them to Europe versus the U.S. That's a difference of 5 or 6 hours. So it's not a huge difference. And again, the planes can deliver the same level of care as this facility in Kenya would be able to deliver. In fact, may even be better. And so there's really no reason from a travel perspective, a transit time perspective, not to put them immediately on the plane and send them to where we have the best care in the world for this.